These are stories where love meets betrayal. Stories that make you see life a little differently.
I never understood how quietly a life could break, how silently trust could dissolve, like ink in water, and how a person you once loved could become a stranger standing in your doorway, holding the pieces of your heart without even knowing he'd shattered them. My name doesn't matter here. Names rarely do when the rain speaks louder than memories. But if you stay with me, if you listen through this storm, you'll understand how the betrayal unfolded, how the truth revealed itself. Not like lightning, but like a slow, creeping dawn. And how I learned what kind of revenge actually heals. The kind that destroys not the man, but the illusion that protected him. I met Daniel on an evening like this. Soft rain, low clouds, air that smelled like leaves and electricity. He said he admired strong women. I believed him. I believed many things back then. He worked in finance, consulting, long hours, endless meetings. I worked in design. Quiet, precise, intuitive. Somehow we fit, like two misaligned puzzle pieces forced together. Beautiful, but doomed. We lived together in a small apartment near the river. Wood floors, pale curtains, the kind of home that always felt a little too temporary, as if it belonged more to the rain than to us. For 3 years, I thought I understood him, his ambition, his drive, his dreams of a promotion, one he mentioned often, as if speaking it aloud would pull it closer. The Thompson Project, he called it. A high-level corporate contract worth millions. A deal that could catapult him into a position with real power. He said it would fix everything. Our finances, our future, his sleepless nights. I supported him because that's what love was to me at the time. A quiet offering, a soft place, a steady hand. I didn't know he offered someone else his heart. Someone who wasn't steady or soft or quiet. Someone who didn't love him, only the attention he gave her. Her name was Claire, a colleague, confident, polished, the kind of woman whose heels clicked like punctuation marks down a hallway. I didn't know any of this at first. I didn't know the storm was forming behind me, while I admired the calm ahead. The first sign was small. A late meeting. Another late meeting. A weekend away for a team bonding retreat I wasn't invited to. He came home smelling like hotel soap. Not our home. I remember the moment everything cracked. It was raining. Of course it was. Rain has a way of being present when lives change shape. I was cleaning our bedroom, folding laundry, doing small things to fill the silence. His laptop pinged with a message. I never checked his things. Never even thought to. Trust makes you blind, but betrayal teaches you to see. I looked. Just once. just at the notification preview. Last night was worth every risk. Claire. The world folded inward like wet paper. For the next hour, I read messages that weren't meant for my eyes. Plans, lies, secrets, moments stolen in office corners and hotel rooms. He didn't just cheat. He confided in her, trusted her, promised her the future that was supposed to be ours. The worst part? She mocked me. Sweet little comments about how naive I must be, how quiet women never see it coming. They saw me as an afterthought, a placeholder, a quiet shadow in a shared home. I thought I would scream, shatter something, confront him, but I didn't. My revenge didn't start with rage. It started with observation, with silence. The most valuable things he had weren't in this apartment. They weren't emotional, not really. What Daniel valued above everything was the Thompson project, the contract that would grant him the promotion he idolized. And the moment I understood that, a seed of clarity formed inside me. I wasn't going to confront him. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to leave immediately. No, I was going to take the one thing he needed most. The next weeks were a performance, a slow, delicate choreography of smiles and half-truths. He kissed me in the morning. He kissed her during lunch. He kissed me again at night. He didn't know that I knew. He didn't know that I was studying him, learning his patterns, memorizing his weaknesses. He didn't know I had begun quietly gathering information, notes about his project, his deadlines, his contacts, the people who held influence over his future. Revenge, real revenge, is never impulsive. It's crafted, measured, precise. One evening, he came home excited, glowing with that charming arrogance he wore like a tailored suit. "Baby," he said, "the Thompson team wants a final pitch presentation. I'm this close. This close." His fingers hovered an inch apart. I smiled, soft and warm. "That's incredible. You've worked so hard for this." He kissed my forehead, already stepping past me, already reaching for his laptop like it contained oxygen. He never noticed how I watched him, how I memorized the way he typed, how I learned the structure of his files, his passwords, his schedule. He thought I was harmless. He thought I was quiet. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Quiet means you're listening. My plan took shape in shadows. I didn't want to ruin his life, just the illusion he built. Just the thing he valued more than me, the thing he sacrificed our relationship for. The Thompson project. It started with one detail. Daniel wasn't the only candidate. There were others, sharp, competent, ethical consultants who didn't manipulate their way up the ladder. I researched them, just enough to know who deserved a chance, not enough to harm anyone innocent. Then I shifted my attention to the Thompson board, what they valued, what they expected, what would repel them instantly. One thing was clear. They had zero tolerance for data manipulation, especially involving predictive risk modeling. Daniel had been creative with his numbers to impress them, to inflate confidence, to secure his spot. I had proof, screenshots, drafts, voice notes he didn't think twice recording. He had committed a professional sin, one that, if revealed, would cost him everything. But I didn't send it to the board. That would be too easy, too blunt, too destructive. I needed something cleaner, smarter, something that looked like an accident. So I waited, watched, timed everything. The night before his final pitch, he fell asleep on the couch, exhausted, stressed, unaware of the quiet storm forming beside him. His laptop was open, the final presentation ready. I didn't delete it. I didn't sabotage the file. That would have been obvious. Instead, I replaced 2 key charts with earlier drafts. Drafts with errors he had corrected weeks ago. Drafts that would expose his manipulation, but only if he failed to notice them before presenting. Then I did something more subtle, something he would never think to check. I altered the metadata, just enough for the Thomson Analytics team to see the inconsistency. Not enough for Daniel to detect it himself. I saved the file, closed the laptop, sat beside him. He slept peacefully. I watched the rain. The next morning, he rushed out the door, nervous, focused, clueless. I made coffee, took a shower, went for a walk along the river.
I didn't need to be present to witness his downfall. It would unfold without me. Around noon, my phone buzzed. Call from Daniel. I didn't answer. I let it ring. And ring. And ring. Then a text. Something went wrong. I don't know how. They think I manipulated data. They're reviewing the whole project. I stared at the message for a long moment and felt nothing but a soft, quiet release. He came home early, rain dripping from his jacket, hair plastered to his forehead, eyes wide, panicked, wounded, confused. "They accused me," he said. "I don't know what happened. The charts were wrong. Everything was wrong. They're escalating it. There might be an investigation." I looked at him, the man who traded our relationship for ambition and attention. "That's terrible," I whispered. He didn't notice the calm in my voice. He was drowning in his own consequences. For the next few days, his world unraveled. The Thomson board suspended the project. His boss questioned his integrity. His colleagues whispered behind glass walls. And Claire, she disappeared the moment things turned sour. Loyalty was never part of their relationship. Just thrill. Just convenience. He tried calling her repeatedly. I heard him. He didn't know I was listening. The phone rang and rang and rang. No answer. 3 days later, he finally asked, "Do you think I did something wrong? Something careless?" I paused.
chose my words like stepping stones across a river. Sometimes, I said softly, we don't see when our actions come back to us. His eyes filled with something close to fear. I planned everything carefully, but I didn't expect what came next. He broke down, cried, collapsed on the kitchen floor, confessed everything, not knowing I already knew. I messed up. I messed everything up. I didn't cherish you. I didn't respect us. I thought the project would make things better, but I destroyed everything. His words fell like heavy raindrops. I watched him, quiet, steady. You hurt me, I said. I know. I know. His voice cracked. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't want to lose everything. But he already had. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't violent. It was simple. I took what he valued most, the thing he sacrificed our relationship for, the thing he believed defined him. And in doing so, I freed myself. I left a week later, packed my things slowly, gently. No shouting, no chaos, just rain tapping on windows, soft and patient. When I walked out the door, he asked one last question. Why now? Why like this? I turned to him and said, you never noticed the little things, Daniel. And that's why you never saw me leaving. I moved to a smaller apartment across the city. New space, new air, new silence. I didn't check on him. I didn't stalk his social media. I didn't follow news from his company. I didn't need to. His downfall was complete. Professionally, emotionally, socially. But I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean, steady, free. Months passed. The rain returned, as it always does. One evening, I sat on my balcony, tea warming my hands, watching the street lights blur in the drizzle. I thought about him, not with love, not with hatred, with distance, the kind of distance that comes when you finally understand a truth. Some people don't destroy you because they mean to. They destroy you because they don't think you matter enough to be careful with. And some revenge isn't punishment. It's balance. A quiet restoration of what's fair. I'm not the woman I was. Not quiet in the same way. Not naive. Not afraid. The rain still follows me, but now it feels like an old companion. A reminder that storms cleanse as much as they destroy. When I close my eyes, I don't see him. I see myself. Stronger, clearer, finally whole. And for the first time in a long time, I feel peace.
Sometimes pain doesn't come from enemies, but from the ones we trusted the most. Maybe that's how life teaches us to see the truth. Could you forgive such a betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. More stories are coming, stories that will touch your heart.